Hold up. Okay. What's good, y'all? Back with another video. About to do Capitalism versus Socialism, Town Hall Part 3. Subscribe, turn on post notifications. I like doing these capitalism socialism debates because it drive very interesting conversation, very interesting questions. And I know a lot of people on here don't like Marxists, and I know a lot of people on here don't like capitalists. I know a lot of people on here don't like socialists, and I know a lot of people on here don't like fascists. But I'm scrap the fascist one. But like all the rest of them, like if you learn from other people's perspectives, because if you learn from other people's perspectives, we'll have a better world. You know what I'm saying? You should be able to argue both arguments whenever you come into any conversation. You should be able to argue the capitalist argument. You should be able to argue the socialist argument. That's when you can actually come up with a good opinion on what you feel about it. But I feel like a lot of people don't have good opinions on this stuff because in all reality, they don't know it. They don't know both sides. They only know one side. Like I had to dive into socialism and learn about Marx and Lenin, and I had to. That doesn't make me a Marxist or a socialist, you know. But at the same time, though, like I learned about it and I could see the benefit in like adding socialism to society to help out. But I also see the benefit in capitalism from Adam Smith, like the original understanding of capitalism from Adam Smith. That was what I understand, and that's what I think is good. This crony capitalism right now ain't good, and we'll figure it out though, y'all. But anyways, I don't want to talk out here. Oh shit. My fault, y'all. I'm yawning, man. Woof. I just got off work, too. This is how you know I'm grinding. I just got off work to come drop these videos for y'all. So, y'all better watch. Stay engaged. Stay engaged. Let's go. Oh, shit. Hold on. Wait a minute. Push back a little bit. Oh, shit. Hold on. Fuck. Hold on. All right, hold on. Okay, 3, 2, 1. There we go. I'm counting down so I can put myself in the place, but let's go.
Welcome back to our special edition of Making Money. It continues now. This, a town hall on capitalism and socialism. And back with us representing socialism.
I ain't even trying to hold it, man. Dude look funny as hell. Ugh, man, he ugly. y'all, I don't care what y'all feel about what I just said. He ugly. Let's go.
Bianca Cunningham and Richard Wolff, and our champion of capitalism, Herman Cain. And joining us now, Kennedy, you know her. She's the host of her own show on 9 p.m. on Fox Business. She also appears regularly on Outnumbered over on the Fox News Network. Kennedy,
it's like, what do you do when that camera's just sitting on you? Yeah. She feel awkward as hell.
Kennedy was born in Indiana and raised in Oregon. Now, she's a libertarian and she is a big proponent of capitalism. Welcome to the show, Kennedy.
Thank you very much. Nice to be here.
A lot of exciting things. You've lived capitalism, you preach capitalism, so you ready?
Absolutely, Charles. Let's do this.
Let's do it. Let's get our next question. Let's go to Nicholas. Nicholas.
Hi. So I'm a college student here in New York City studying business, and on today's college campuses, it's so hard to bring Republican ideas such as capitalism to a debate without being either shouted down or called a slew of slurs. So how do we ensure that students in our universities and colleges across the country, especially here in cities as liberal as New York, are able to learn the real differences between capitalism and socialism and the benefits capitalism has brought to America through its first 243 years of existence?
Let's ask the professor.
That's a good question. That's a really good question, because if you go to universities, it's extremely hard to spew conservative ideas. I do notice that. And we need both. We need a balance of liberalism and conservatism, progressive ideas and conservative ideas. That's a good question. It's a really good question. Let's see. I don't have no solution to that, but I'm gonna see what they say.
I've spent a lifetime preaching to do exactly that, to have the university be a place where the ideas of capitalism can be defended by people who believe in it, and the ideas of socialism can be defended and put forward by people who believe in it. But in 90% of the colleges of the United States, in economics, which is the field I know, there are people, loads of people, who love and celebrate capitalism, and no people who celebrate socialism. Let me give you myself as an example, because Herman here has given himself as an example. I was born in Ohio. Parents had absolutely nothing. I ended up, for a
Me too.
long story, I ended up going to Harvard as an undergraduate, to Stanford in the middle, and I finished at Yale. I'm like a poster boy for elite education in this country, right? At no time in my education, 10 years in the Ivy League, did anyone stand in front of me and give an argument for why socialism was advantageous or good. I heard countless debates among people who loved capitalism, disagreed about this or that. But the presumption was, this is the best system since sliced bread, this is all you need to know, and the alternative is nothing you have to worry about.
Right.
Given that, of course it's hard for socialism to get a hearing. But your situation is the very, very scarcest reality. The one I described is unfortunately the bad legacy of the Cold War we still
With all due respect, Richard, I want to bring...
Dang, no. He's 1,000% right, because in school you learn micro and macroeconomics, and micro and macroeconomics are strictly based on capitalism. They're not based on socialism in any way, shape, or form. They're based on how capitalism functions. You know, they're based on like a business, how to run a business, how to build capital for the business, what to do when you don't have enough capital for the business, how to market. All of it's all capitalism. None of it's socialism. Literally, like, I don't actually remember learning about socialism in school. I learned about socialism afterwards. I learned all capitalist values. So I take that back earlier. What I think is happening on the universities, because I did notice also on the universities, I never learned about socialism, but there was a push towards socialism on the universities. But I think it was more from the students. Because I don't know, like, I'm backtracking a little bit on what I said earlier. Because maybe I'm noticing it because I'm watching too much TV. Maybe I'm noticing it on TV a lot, but I don't know. Let's keep going.
Kennedy in, because this is not the first time I've heard this. In fact, I've heard it from thousands and thousands of young adults in colleges across this country.
Yes, and it's not just, we have to divorce ourselves from the idea of a two-party system, and I'm sure that you would agree. You know, you kind of rail against the Democrat Party and the establishment, and it's this extreme bifurcation, but they really have so much in common that they do such a great disservice to so many people. So instead of thinking in terms of Republican and Democrat, I like to think in terms of freedom, and that's, you know, that is much more libertarian. That is much more of a libertarian, liberty-encompassing philosophy. And when you talk about freedom, you tend to be much more inclusive because you're talking to individuals. You're not just dividing up into two separate groups where it's we instantly hate you. And I think it's good that you're getting a degree in business because it means that you will have some practical application of that degree. There are a lot of degrees, like my degree in philosophy doesn't necessarily translate to the workplace. It helped me organize my thoughts. I probably could have done that on my own, but I liked being in a university setting. So for the vast majority of people who are languishing in college, which are propaganda factories that are run by
Wix, one platform, any website, unlimited creation.
By leftists who want to indoctrinate. What I would say to a vast majority of people, save your money. Don't necessarily go to college until you know what you want to study. I didn't go to college until I was 28 years old. I had had two careers in broadcasting, in radio and television, and it wasn't until I knew what I wanted to do and pour myself into it completely that I went and got a scholarship to UCLA. Go Bruins.
Let's leave it there. And
she talked about nothing. Like, she literally just said a whole lot of nothing. Like you didn't even answer his question. Just remember the question that he asked. He said, how do we get capitalism and socialism on universities to where we can have these conversations amongst each other to where it's not tribalist, like where both of us are fighting amongst each other? She answered in one part, but the rest of it was all kind of about her. She didn't even answer the question. Like, he didn't answer his question. How do we get capitalism and socialism to communicate in a way where it's not tribalistic amongst both of them? And there is a tribalist side on capitalism too. Yeah, there is. So let's keep on.
Hey, up next we've got Mohammed. Mohammed, what's your question?
So, can I stand? Alright. I just wanted to ask the candidates as to their thoughts on the desirability as well as the feasibility of transitioning America to a socialist framework by replacing the current model of structure of firms, which some would describe as a vertical hierarchy, into worker-owned cooperatives.
Bianca?
What? Okay.
Yeah, so I think that's a really good question. To me, in my mind, I feel like this country has prioritized capitalism over democracy. And so I think that we can't start to have these conversations without bringing democracy back into the conversation. People are not responsive to candidates or to political parties. They're responsive to issues. They have real issues that they want to see addressed. And I feel like, there are a lot of examples of socialism gone bad around, but what I'm more concerned about, I think America, we're great at a lot of things. I think that we can do socialism better in this country than in any other country.
How do we restructure it, though, from this capitalist system and then break it down, put it back together? It's like changing a tire on a moving back truck.
Here's another question, though.
That's the point. You don't have to completely restructure it. We can keep things just the way they are. Just add in the fact that workers have more power and control when it comes to the means and production and payments. How much workers get paid should be decided by the workers. How much what goes on in the company should be decided by the workers. It's everybody together. Because everybody in the company technically is a worker. It's just we have boards of people who make the decisions for everybody. And that can change. That's something that we can democratize. That's not complicated. That's not complicated to do. They're asking us to break the entire society down. I don't think we need to do that at all. And if they say that, then I think that I'm going to be totally against that, because that's not a good idea at all. Yeah.
And I have a question for you, because I want you to answer this honestly. When will you admit that things have gotten better? And that's a problem, because there's so much hyperbole and this is the worst time and there are children starving in the streets. That's not necessarily true. This is actually the best time to be alive. People are living longer. And in fact, capitalism has lifted billions of people out of extreme poverty. Do you want people in extreme poverty? I don't. I want women and I want the children and young people to have ideas that they insert into the marketplace.
Yeah.
But when will you admit that things have actually gotten better? That's the worry, because you talk about systems and you talk about strata and you abuse this.
It's a luxury to have this conversation. In many parts of the world, you couldn't.
We have the highest wage.
Hold on, before she goes, this right here is where I think capitalists need to learn from Marxists and socialists, as well as socialists need to learn from capitalists, right? Capitalists are telling them that yes, and capitalists are right, we are living in some of the best times in history. It's some of the best times to be alive, right? Literally, we're technological advances that are going beyond the roof, right? However, though, where the Marxists and the socialists are coming in is that we have elevated our times, but we have not elevated our state of consciousness on the time. And what I mean by that is we have not elevated so if we're so elevated, why are there people literally working 2 jobs to survive? Why are there people working 7 days a week? If we have became so advanced, why is it harder for some people than it is for others? Why does it seem like the elites only have everything that's good and the people at the bottom don't? Why does it seem like there's not enough to go around for everybody? Why does poverty still exist? Poverty could have been completely eradicated according to my understanding of capitalism, but capitalists didn't do it. They didn't eradicate poverty completely. And the other side of it is that Marxists are pointing out the flaws in capitalism that definitely need to be worked on. Monopolies are something that need to be taken care of. The crony capitalists that we are seeing needs to be taken care of. The fact that a worker can get fired from a job and have nothing for themselves afterwards if they've worked at a company for so long, that's a bad thing. The fact that AI has automated a lot of jobs out of existence and some people don't come back from that. Those are things we need to deal with. And maybe we could do it through capitalism, or maybe we could do it through Marxism or socialism. But let's keep going.
Gap today, then after the Great Depression, then after the recession in 2008. So while you are saying that capitalism is working and the markets are strong and unemployment is low, what we're saying is that it's not translating to people's actual material
When will you admit? Okay, so socialists like to use the term living wage. When will you admit what that is, and why would you stop at $15 an hour? Why not go to $25 an hour? Why not $100 an hour? $150 an hour? That's absolutely right. Start there. Go big.
I want to get you guys in, but we're getting tight on time. Let me start with you first, Herman, because you worked at the Federal Reserve. You also ran a major corporation. How would we actually deconstruct this whole system that we have and flatten it out so that everyone has a greater voice? And how does that even work?
The answer is you can't. Allow me to give you 2 statistics.
I ain't even gonna lie. I don't really even want to hear him. Because that's a problem too. Like, we got people who are literally saying we can't. No, we can. We just got to figure it out. We can. Absolutely. We got to the moon. We can figure it out. We got to the moon. We can figure it out. We done built skyscrapers that touch the sky. Cell phones, computers in your pockets. We have literally eradicated poverty damn near around the world completely. Extreme poverty-stricken conditions are down to below 10%. They're below 10%. Look this shit up. We can do it. We just got to figure it out. We got to keep coming up with ideas. This is what I can't stand about conservatives sometimes. Like a lot of conservatives don't like to acknowledge that there is a possibility of change, and that possibility of change may not be good for the beginning, but towards the end of it all, it may be good. And we need change sometimes in certain portions of society. But let's keep going.
As imperfect as capitalism is, the United States of America represents nearly 25% of the world's GDP compared to everybody else. And we have less than 5% of the world's population. Kennedy is right. More people have been lifted up out of poverty because of capitalism, not socialism. Secondly, socialism creeps into a society. That's why a lot of people think it sounds good. That young man's question was never answered. When you ask, when are people going to start telling people what it's going to cost? Nobody has answered that. And that's because the costs are absolutely unbelievable.
There's one single video that's responsible for leading over 2,000 Christian men to permanently quitting.
And unrealistic. Richard.
I want to answer.
You just didn't answer it either.
I'd like to answer the question about how could you get a situation where these ideas become acceptable, and to teach a little bit of
implement them. How do we deconstruct capitalism and become a socialist
but
society?
his question implies how do you get people to be willing to even talk about it, go in that direction?
By force.
And let me give an example.
That's the only way. That's it.
That's historical nonsense, like some of the other things you said.
No, that's reality. That's the truth. You
The
use
longevity
force.
of the United
You
States
use
the last
force.
2 years has
No,
gone down.
whether or not it's
down.
by gun or by tax, it's
But you
force.
can ignore it,
It is
but you
absolute
can't
force.
say what you
Whenever
say.
you are
It's not
applying
correct.
groupthink, that is using force.
Let me respond to this
Individuals
question.
do
No
not
one is
have a
using
choice.
force.
That's the only way. That's it. It is
I
force.
guess you don't want me to speak. Is that the point?
Oh no, I hear the same thing over and over again, but that's the answer.
So you
It's
don't want me to
force.
speak because you've heard
Go
it.
ahead. No, you can
thank
even
you.
sidestep it all you want.
Kind of you.
Thank you.
Now, let me explain why the socialism isn't the problem here. That's a little bit of American history. In 1916, for the first time, the Socialist Party ran a candidate for president. Got 600,000 votes, 3% of the vote. 4 years later, the Socialist Party ran another candidate for president, Eugene Debs. He got 4% of the vote, 900,000. 4 years later, the Socialists ran another candidate, Robert LaFollette of Wisconsin. 1924, he ran for president. He got 5 million votes, 17% of the total vote.
Damn.
At that point, the capitalists of this country got very frightened, and for good reason, and came down on socialism with the same kind of hysterical denunciation that you're listening to here. We have to come out of 100 years of hibernation.
Right.
Every other country in the world has socialist parties that are part of the conversation. We're the country that's behind in that area. We need to catch up, but we don't have to imagine it as new. It's in our own history. We've been able to do it. We've been there.
Great point, Richard. Listen, this is not...
Yes.
Well, FDR implemented a lot of policies that the socialists were advising.
That's right.
Kennedy, love you. Thank you so much.
Thank you,
Love
Charles.
your
Great to
passion
see you.
and
Thank you
knowledge.
all.
He just dropped gems. He just dropped gems, man. She was just loud. And I don't know, but I'm gonna hurry up and get out of here, y'all. That was good reaction. Peace.